Hello and a warm welcome to the launch of the International RegTech Association, the IRTA. I am Dr. Subhash Roy, Chairman of the International RegTech Association, and I'm extremely honored to open the broadcast of this global webinar. Today, I'm going to share a few key messages about the IRTA, its purpose, its not-profit status, its values and objectives. RegTech, or the regulatory technology, is an immensely important and a rapidly developing topic around the world, including its prominence to the current and future of the global financial sector and the other regulated industries, for instance, healthcare and pharmaceuticals, oil and gas. During this webinar, we are going to listen to the discussions from a very distinguished panel of RegTech experts in the Americas region, including the IRTA Vice Chair, Matt Elton, the chapter presidents, and other executive board members. They will be focusing on the key RegTech trends, including the research and innovations, RegTech open source standards, professional educations and certifications, and the necessity of a collaborative ecosystem, including the regulators, the governments, the businesses, including the financial institutions. They will also be looking at the importance of RegTech in the key economies in the Americas region, including the Canada and United States. This will be followed by key messages from Nicola Coburn, our Chief Marketing Officer, including how to get involved into the IRTA's day-to-day global activities, its membership, and the benefits. There will also be a question and answer sessions at the end of this webinar, where the panel, along with Nicola and I, will try to respond to as many questions as we can. All the questions will be answered and made available on the IRTA website, regtechassociation.org, within 2 days, along with a recorded version of this webinar emailed to you as well. You are encouraged to use the Q&A button to submit your questions at any time during this webinar. The IRTA organizational values lie in our mission, which includes setting up a collaborative, inclusive, open and opt-in RegTech ecosystem around the world as one of the most important driving forces in the developing modern society. I am committed to make the IRTA the backbone of the communities it belongs to. Starting today, the IRTA will be working relentlessly to build and deliver the future of RegTech, including a happy and harmonious community of people, which in turn will drive a collaborative, purposeful, non-profit organization. At the IRTA, we strive to fully undertake our social responsibility, building a trusted and sustainable business environment, leading by example as an organization of people, and ultimately achieving the shared vision of IRTA family and IRTA home for the future upbringing and growth of RegTech. It is therefore our mission to innovate, advance, and influence the future of RegTech through a global community of individuals and organizations with a shared vision. As I pointed out, our vision and strategic purpose is to be the home of RegTech globally, be simultaneously pronounced RegTech and IRTA together when spoken about each other by anyone, be the mentor as also the custodian of RegTech. We will be representing the interests of the RegTech providers and consumers globally. We will engage and liaise with the most influential financial regulators and regulators in other industries and business sectors, academics, researchers, governments, humanitarian agencies, including the United Nations, on the key areas of RegTech and innovation in trust. These will include key topics such as financial inclusion, digital identity, collaborative innovation zones, and the use of advanced technologies to drive up trust and compliance, combating financial crime, helping to improve transparency and accountability, and providing improved access to data to a multifarious of regulations and regulators. We will promote the use of advanced technologies, including data analytics, blockchain, and machine learning tools, including machine-readable regulations, among the others. In the coming months, we will also start designing and delivering essential RegTech educations and certifications, including open source innovation standards. Your ideas and thoughts will be extremely important, and the IRTA team will develop an open, inclusive, constructive, and consultative environment to ensure best quality outputs. The IRTA has already created a global RegTech community, which is growing by the day. We will also see more activities, events, research, and white papers by the IRTA with other partners when appropriate to enhance the value of RegTech. The need of the IRTA lies in its mission and purpose: to define RegTech and to create RegTech profession effectively to become its voice. The Federal Financial Analysts estimates the size of the RegTech market to exceed $100 billion by 2020, with more than $20 billion new investments every year post 2020. In future, the financial sector and other industries will use an increasing amount of technology and innovation to drive their core businesses, including the key operating practices, the risk and regulatory compliance obligations. It is therefore important to raise the awareness of RegTech among those charged with the future of compliance, to develop and deliver, which is an extremely key area that the IRTA will be able to help and influence. We will work in collaboration and partnerships with our members to ensure delivering such objectives, including publishing research and position papers, professional educations on the evolving definitions and areas of RegTech for the years to come. So, if you are an individual either working as a compliance or risk officer or a controls expert wanting to explore, use, and deploy the new advanced regulatory technology, be it for the customer's data analytics or selecting better samples for testing or monitoring risks for compliance or improved reporting, the IRTA will be helping you by providing a global directory of people and companies whom you can access, work with, and collaborate. On the other hand, if you are a technologist or a researcher wanting to know more about regulations and the key risks, the IRTA will be your place of choice because of its ability to mentor and support you in your programs. You will see two of our vice chairs on this page. Diana Perdes is our Vice Chair of Innovation, and she will be leading our work on research and innovation. Michael Meyer is our Vice Chair for Regulatory Relationships, and he has already started leading our work in designing and developing relationships with the regulators globally, including the financial sector. I, along with the rest of the executive board, see these are the key benefits of joining IRTA. The same principle will also apply if you are a business or an enterprise, or a regulator or a government agency looking to adopt innovation into RegTech, or an university or research organizations trying to develop skills or to contribute in the future of this profession. The IRTA is able to meet your requirements because of its global reach, knowledge assets, and vast memberships, because of its focus to research and innovation, to develop standards, and to work in collaborations and partnerships with you and the others. Our global reach is for your benefits. We are a united community of individuals and organizations with a shared vision to innovate, advance, and influence the future of regulatory technology. We are a not-for-profit organization incorporated in Switzerland. We are already present in more than 20 countries with more than 1,000 individuals wanting to join us. The IRTA is run by its executive board, which is elected annually in July every year by its members. Any member can become a leader in the IRTA. Join us today and become part of this global RegTech ecosystem and the IRTA family to help define the future of RegTech and future of our business and communities. To find out specific RegTech activities in your city, in your country, or in your region, and be the part of our one mission, one vision, shared voice, and global reach. Think RegTech, think IRTA. Thank you. Matt, I'm going to handing over to yourself for the Q&A and the roundtable.
That is superb. Thank you very much, Subhash, for the wonderful introduction to IRTA. I'll start off just to introduce myself. So I am the Vice Chair or lead for the Americas region, working with our group of industry professionals throughout the region, some of which you'll hear on the webinar today, to bring together and bring to reality the strategy of IRTA for the Americas region. To introduce myself, in my day job, I am the CEO of a consulting firm called Finolux, where we help regulated companies to execute their digital strategy. A large part of this work, of course, involves helping regulated companies to implement RegTech as a part of their overall strategy. In addition to this, I am as well the co-founder and CEO of RegTech Canada. For the panel discussion today, the team would like to focus on the benefits that RegTech brings and to explain to you how IRTA creates long-term value in the market through collaboration on an international scale. It is through engagement that we bring a deep understanding of the needs of the regulated industries, as well as the solutions brought by the RegTech firms themselves. Of course, in order to do this, we are actively engaged with both government and regulators, as well as working together with academia to ensure that the future skills and capabilities are fully aligned with the needs of the industry and the wider economy. I would like to ask each member of the panel to take about 30 seconds each to introduce themselves to you, introduce their role within the IRTA and what they bring to the team. So maybe we'll start off with Alex, who is the co-chair of our NYC chapter. Alex?
Sure. Can you hear me, Matt?
I can hear you absolutely perfectly.
Great. Well, thank you for having me on the distinguished panel today. I'm happy to be here. By way of intro, I am the founder and CEO of PerformLine, which is one of the first pioneering companies in RegTech to provide automated marketing compliance in regulated industries. I'm also the founder of the Comply conferences, which are amongst the first and fastest growing RegTech conference series, and it's held in New York City every June. And in terms of the IRTA, I'm honored to be a chapter co-president of the New York chapter and an executive board member.
Thank you, Alex. Now, next we'll move to Scott Nelson, who is the chapter co-president of the San Francisco chapter. Scott?
Thanks, Matt. Scott Nelson here. I'm the founder CEO of Big Controls, and we are a RegTech company providing lifecycle management and regulatory compliance for corporate tax breaks. One of the things that's a little unique out here, I think, in the Silicon Valley is not only do we have RegTech companies that solve for kind of the traditional financial services space, but you have various companies out here like mine that are in different verticals like taxation or healthcare or others. So a little bit different and unique perspective. So hopefully that adds a little bit different perspective and value to the organization for everybody.
Fantastic, thank you, Scott. And Scott is joined by Danielle, who is also the chapter co-president, together with Scott, also in San Francisco. Danielle?
Hi, my name is Danielle Deibler. I'm the founder and CEO of Compliance.ai. We do a compliance change management augmented by machine learning and AI for the financial services space. And I'll echo Scott, even though we're starting in the financial services space, one of the unique things in the ecosystem in San Francisco is the focus outside of just the financial services space, but also into things like environmental protection and healthcare, and even kind of sub areas like taxation, like Scott's company. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And finally, I would like to introduce Anna, who is the president of RegTech Canada. Anna?
Thank you, Matt. Can you hear me?
Absolutely perfectly.
Okay, wonderful. Hello, everyone. I'm Anna Velvet. I'm from Toronto, and I'm the president of RegTech Canada. So just wanted to give you just a little bit about me. From my background, I have a law degree from Laurentian University and a postgraduate diploma from in European commercial law. So I've been working within the international banking environment for the past decade. And my role was helping departments to communicate effectively while banks started their digital transformation. So with my legal education and coupled with the experience and years that I've been working with all the different departments such as risk, compliance, wealth management, back office, and project management, it actually gave me a further insight in the challenges faced and the cost in trying to be compliant, working with these institutions. So as a Canadian, I saw RegTech as a huge opportunity that opened up in Canada as the technology that we are known for, coupled with the strict regulations, credibility, and transparency that's widely known. And today at RegTech, we are working with key players in order to see what we could do about overhauling the regulatory space in finance and other highly regulated sectors in Canada.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Anna. So in summary, we've got Alex in New York City, Scott and Danielle in San Francisco, Anna in Toronto, who together will give us a very good perspective of the state of RegTech throughout North America. So to start the roundtable discussion and get some thoughts on what RegTech means, I thought it would be interesting to, as a new industry, to explore the different definitions of RegTech. And I would like to see how each of you yourselves define RegTech and how those you work with define the term RegTech and how within your own geographic location RegTech is seen. So maybe we'll start with Alex in New York City. Alex?
Yeah, I think that's a great place to start the discussion, Matt. So the question is, how do we in my team at Performline define RegTech? How do our customers define it? And if there's anything specific to the location, being in New York, that we may garner from the definition. So on the broadest terms, my team and our customers, I think, start with the understanding of RegTech of where compliance and innovation meet. Right, so there's a concept of innovation and bringing new technologies to bear to solve regulatory requirements. So those two pieces always need to be present. Pain points around solving growing regulatory requirements and innovation and technology. I think more specifically, RegTech speaks to the broad adoption of these technologies across different parts of our customers, and we do focus primarily on financial institutions and consumer finance companies today. So the RegTech puzzle has many different pieces, some of which probably many of the folks on the phone are familiar with: AML, KYC, vendor onboarding, but there's other elements, whether it's workflow or marketing compliance or specific use cases that startups are solving for today. So I think our customers are primarily thinking of RegTech around problems and around lowering costs and getting greater risk mitigation than the human capacity and their ability to bring on talented people to solve for these problems can on their own. And that's where RegTech has a place in the stack of our companies.
Fantastic, thank you, Alex. I think that's a really important definition of the value proposition that RegTech brings to the financial services industry as a whole. Maybe Scott and Danielle in San Francisco, in the Valley, what's the definition that is generally used, and how do your colleagues see RegTech from a benefit to industry, to businesses within that local geography?
Yeah, maybe I can start, and then Danielle, you can kind of follow on and add. But I just to kind of maybe piggyback on what Alex was talking about here. I think regardless of what sort of vertical we're in within RegTech, I think we're all trying to solve and really leverage technology to ease the regulatory burden in some way. Whether that's through financial services, as I think we mentioned, the AML or KYC, or in our case, certain regulatory compliance issues around taxation. But to that end, I think we all have some common goals. And I think the reason the IRTA is so important here is it's giving us a framework for all of us to get on the same page, and all the stakeholders to collaborate. I think that there's some more to talk about a little further down the road on the roundtable, but I think that's at least my initial perspective. And hopefully that makes some sense. But Danielle, if you want to kind of add on to that, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I think it really is a matter of taking some kind of tried and true technology mechanisms and applying them to, and this feels kind of like a very Valley approach, but applying them to an industry that has not had them applied before. And you'll see a common theme is, machine learning, AI, and automation of the processes. And that's kind of the, if we can bring ourselves together through something like the IRTA and relationships with subject matter experts, that's kind of a traditional way for the Valley to solve a lot of problems. And I think that's probably the one unique perspective here coming from this chapter, is that application of tech, and that's very pervasive throughout the entire thread of what the IRTA is trying to accomplish, but also what RegTech really is defined as.
And great insight there, and I absolutely agree. The technology element really being very, very key to our success. Anna, finally, from a Toronto perspective, from a Canadian perspective, what is the definition of RegTech in Canada, and how are the benefits being seen and being viewed in the Canadian ecosystem?
Well, just by watching the activities going on here and seeing how people are really getting involved, regulatory bodies are getting involved, governments are getting involved, the key thing is the regulation and the technology, and putting it together to making it show transparency. That's a key thing that people are talking about here, as well as being able to get the regulators to be able to be innovative in helping them to not only monitor easily with easier regulations with technology, but help to mitigate risk and also facilitate the requirements that they need in order to communicate to the regulated entity. So really, it's everything that everybody on the panel said in regarding to the actual reg component as an overhaul, and the technology to help the process go together. With the IRTA, what it does is that it gives everybody a sense on how can we do it within an international means. So that's what it is here in Canada.
So from the sound of it, a very holistic approach, looking at reg and tech together to create something that strengthens the industry as a whole.
Yes.
Now to explore a little bit more in some of the specific geographies, of course they have their own distinct flavor. And Alex, as you're sitting in the #1 financial center in North America, of course, the hub of the financial sector, how do you see the adoption of RegTech by the financial industry, and what challenges are there in terms of accepting and accelerating the acceptance of RegTech within the industry?
Sure. I think to appropriately answer that, it helps to just back up a little bit, just so everyone on the phone gets a sense for kind of what brought us here as an industry, and understanding the magnitude of the regulatory burden for global financial institutions, but especially for U.S.-based banks that have to deal with a litany of regulators. It's a real alphabet soup in the States, as opposed to some other parts of the world where there's one primary regulator. There's also state AGs, not to mention individual attorneys and class actions and that sort of thing. So the burden to keep up with the growing regulatory environment for the large banks has become very significant. Over 20,000 new regulatory requirements have been created since 2009 alone, and it's estimated that for the major banks in the U.S., up to 10% of their over operational budget is spent on compliance. So that's around $270 billion a year. So clearly, the volume has exceeded human capacity, and the expenses for the banks in New York and elsewhere, have just ballooned to the point where these firms are seeking better solutions. And at the same time, the underlying technology, like some of the technologies that Danielle mentioned, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics, natural language processing, has all become lower cost for the banks to implement, and it's much wider. It's available from many different providers, and it takes a lot less support internally to implement and deploy and leverage. Most of this stuff is offered now in the cloud and as a service. So those two things happening, at the same time are creating this opportunity for RegTech companies to get funding, to build product, and for the large financial institutions to start to test and pilot and roll out within their organizations. So that's very encouraging. There are still challenges, though, that I'm sure many folks on this call feel or are very aware of. But the largest challenges, I think, have kind of gone away, and that being what I just mentioned, the cost and availability of those technologies to roll out. And some of the historical GRC platforms, quite frankly, haven't done a great job keeping up with user needs within these orgs and within the growing regulatory environment. So the challenges, I think, today that we're seeing are more akin to what other new B2B solutions face when they first approach the enterprise and trying to get their wares into the stack. So these are things like on the buy side, knowing who the right sponsor of RegTech should be within an organization. Does it start with the chief compliance officer? Does it start with a particular line of business, IT, risk and legal, or, in some cases, we're seeing standalone innovation groups formed within the banks, which can be helpful. So, not only does that pose a challenge sometimes for the RegTech provider, but for the employees of these banks and these organizations, I think people are not sure whether they're the right groups to raise their hand and to sponsor a RegTech initiative. So that's a challenge that I think all of us that are practitioners of RegTech are dealing with. But ultimately, it's the same challenge that MarTech and FinTech faced as they became critical parts of the enterprise stack. And I think, kind of going down that path, then you get into, well, who actually pays for it and which budget does it come out of? And then lastly, because it's new, what are the KPIs that RegTech solutions should be held to? What are realistic expectations? Is the measurement always cost savings and risk mitigation, or are there ROI stories to be told with RegTech, where RegTech can help drive a competitive advantage for a bank or financial institution? So that's what I'm seeing and my team is seeing right now at the stage of RegTech, and I'd be curious if any of the other panelists can relate to any of those challenges.
So, Matt, if I may add up my two thoughts on there, Subhash. I honestly believe that when it comes to United States, this is the largest single test case for regulatory technology collaborations and the ecosystem. Not only because this is the largest financial sector in the whole world, but it is also one of the most matured one in terms of experience and the varieties. And if we look at that point from an opportunities angle, I think there is a great opportunity for an organizations like IRTA to play a really big role, as Alex just pointed out there, in terms of addressing all those key issues. But more importantly, to be able to create that homogeneous working environment, an innovation zone, where we can bring in all the key stakeholders, be it the regulators or the banks on the Wall Street, or the public policy people from the DC, and the pure technologists people from the West Coast, from some of the pockets of the Central West and the East Coast. And also the researchers and the academics. If we look at some of the skills we have within the United States, be it artificial intelligence or be it machine learning, in other industries, in addition to financial sector, those are more matured and more advanced than you can find in any part of the globe. But what we have not been able to do until today is to bring the benefits of those learnings, those experience into the banking sector, into the financial sector. So that kind of tells us two things. Number one, there is a big opportunity for an organizations like IRTA to be able to create a collaborative ecosystem, bring in all the key stakeholders and provide the benefits, define the professions, but also number two, actually demonstrate United States could be the best test case for the future of RegTech.
Fantastic insight. Thank you, Subhash. And I think that you're raising some very, very important points. Just to move on, just conscious that we have a lot to cover in quite a short period of time. Scott and Danielle, out in San Francisco, at the heart of the tech industry in the US, perhaps you could share with us some of the themes and challenges that perhaps the RegTech firms face.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there are definitely some common themes that we see out here, some common challenges. A couple issues really sort of come to mind, and I'm not suggesting that this is simply a binary problem, but definitely rather a couple of key areas that really percolate to the top here. The first issue is really around data, and it's really access to normalized data, which is insanely difficult to come by. And I think Alex alluded to that earlier by talking about just the sheer number of regulators that we have to deal with out here in the U.S. And it's not just on the federal side, as he alluded to. It's all 50 states, and then within each state you have all of these other AGs and whatnot you might be dealing with on the FinServ side. And if you're a company like mine, you also have to deal with local jurisdictions. And in the U.S., there are in excess of 87,000 local jurisdictions. So it's a mind-boggling issue when you try and discuss how do you get normalized data and manage that data in a way that becomes useful that you can apply the technology to. So that is something I think that's it's a major issue. One of the other things I think that's just really coming through society these days, and it's just a movement here in the US, I think it's global as well, is really around transparency. And I think, you know, we don't really have to look any further than go back to 2014 when President Obama signed the Data Act, Digital Accountability and Transparency. And in fact, that is just getting into play this year. So if you're not familiar with that, in May of this year, the Treasury Department finally released their beta version of all of the federal data that everybody sort of has access to now through APIs. And that's just the first step, right? But transparency, there's a huge movement in transparency, and that's whether we're citizens living here as a community, whether it's government agencies, or whether people just want transparency in business. Or you're a buy-side investor, you want transparency into, you know, the companies you're investing in. It really is, it just sort of permeates throughout our society, I think. Everybody just really wants transparency these days. And it's a big movement, and I think it's something that, you know, we're seeing more and more out here in Silicon Valley in all sorts of ways. So those are really sort of the two top of mind areas that that I sort of think of. Danielle, if you want to jump in.
Sure. I definitely echo the data thing. I can't say that enough. You know, kind of normalized data is the new oil. I've heard that at a number of conferences, and I can't agree more on it. And here in the U.S. especially, we're talking about with the 87,000 local jurisdictions. You also then have 50 states, and you have the federal government and a variety of agencies there. And that's just in the financial services space. That's not even looking at other organizations and other types of regulatory requirements that you would be trying to give transparency and show people. So it really is a huge problem here, and even with kind of open data standards, the problem is that everybody has their own standard here and how they release and publish it. So that is, I have found actually just getting into the space, and our team has found that that part of the problem, while it's not like the most fun part, certainly in terms of technology, it's definitely a requirement if you want to kind of take it to the next level. And I would say the other kind of two areas that I see, I think one is unique potentially to the Bay, but maybe more of a, may also impact the New York market, and the other one is not as unique to the Bay. I think that the education of the consumer, because RegTech is, while potentially more mature in the US, not necessarily still well understood. So the definition and kind of the education, and that speaks a lot to what Alex was talking about in terms of who's the sponsor that you go into and you talk to, and it does change in terms of the approach. When you have a GRC product, it's pretty typically compliance and IT, but when you're coming in from this type of an innovation angle, we have found also that a lot of the larger banks have kind of an innovation council that you go in and talk to, or a group that kind of helps you navigate the organization, and the smaller banks do require a little bit of understanding in terms of what the value proposition is and also what you're helping them with specifically. And you need to be pretty deep in the regulatory space itself to kind of connect with those people. The one that's more unique, I think, to the Bay Area is probably recruiting. It is difficult, I think, to recruit in the environment where you're competing with Facebook and Google and 5 million consumer products. And on that side, definitely kind of focusing on that transparency and echoing what Scott said on the kind of the civic-minded angle of what we're trying to accomplish, I found to be very effective.
Some really good insights there. 87,000 jurisdictions certainly opens up a lot of opportunities for technology, and certainly a lot of opportunities around standardization. at the same time, recruitment a challenge, of course, in an area where there is a lot of competition for talent, certainly with some of those big firms. Moving on very quickly, Anna, so we see in Canada regulators really championing the RegTech industry. Can you perhaps give us some examples of how regulators and governments are stimulating the sector in Canada?
Thank you, Matt, for that question. Actually, the regulators have been really looking at different ways to take a more innovative and open approach to regulation. And a few few regulatory bodies, such as the OSC, which is the Ontario Security Commissions, they actually launched a launch pad, and it was giving the opportunities for them to be closer in helping give fintech companies the opportunity of speaking with legal experts to bring in some form of challenges, to talk about the challenges and how they can actually be in compliance. And from that, it was headed by Maureen Jensen, who's the chair. After the opening in October of 2016, in November, they held their first Reg Hacktio. And so that was also dealing with the emphasis of working with fintech companies, and not only just traditional finance companies, but with non-traditional, so fintech companies, and dealing with the regulatory problems such as the KYC, identity authentication, financial literacy, and as well as everybody was talking about, the transparency, which is the big part in the capital market. And as well, we also have the Canadian Security Administrators, and they started a regulatory sandbox initiative. Now, this is to bring in solution providers that can actually develop RegTech solutions and test it and help, once again, non-traditional and traditional businesses and finance. Now, the key thing here is that it's a collaborated effort. What I'm saying is that not only is it a regulatory technology only dealing with the actual financial institutions, they're also dealing with everybody, trying to bring in the collaboration of fintech and the financial institutions, the traditional ones.
I think that's a really interesting approach, really stimulating the use of RegTech as a means to propel the fintech and the non-traditional financial service providers in the industry. And it's really interesting to watch the regulators and the government really taking an active interest, seeing the opportunity, and then actually doing something with it, creating organizations to help, and in fact running a hackathon themselves. I think that is actually quite unique in terms of approach, and of course it's really powerful in terms of collaboration. Because we're very short of time, and I know we need to move on to the memberships very quickly, but just to go around the table very quickly, how do you feel organizations in our region really can benefit from IRTA's involvement in the RegTech ecosystem? Maybe we start with Danielle. Quick, 1 minute, Danielle.
I will try to contain myself. I think the biggest benefit is the ability to leverage the experience of such a diverse group. You have a lot of startups and larger organizations, and you have RegTech consumers as well as RegTech providers. So that kind of gives you a good recipe for better solutions, but also better standards that work for everyone. And I think that's a place also on the data standardization and kind of some of the terminology and the lexicon of the industry where the IRTA can really help, and I think you want to be a part of that when the foundation is being laid.
Absolutely, completely agree. Alex, from your perspective, how could organizations in New York City benefit from IRTA?
Yeah, real quickly, I think just knowing that you're not alone with anything that you're thinking about or considering in terms of RegTech, in terms of testing solution providers, if you are on the buy side, there's someone else that has gone through a very similar decision process. They've probably looked at companies that you're looking at, and the IRTA is a great platform to network with folks that are in the same spots that you're in your decision process, and therefore you can deliver more value to your organization. And then on the flip side, for RegTech founders and investors, having a network of experts that are making similar decisions and solving similar problems can really benefit you and can help elevate your personal brand as well. So I'm really excited to see the IRTA form and just have seen similar types of trade groups in past lives really elevate the industry by making all of the individual members better.
Very nicely put. Scott, very quickly, something to add?
Absolutely. I'm would just kind of follow on with what Alex said. It's a very exciting time to be part of RegTech. And it's interesting out here in the Valley where every other company is like the next bright shiny thing and the next sexy thing, and quite frankly most people look at RegTech as not very sexy, but frankly we're solving for real problems and real issues, and it is nice to have in my opinion, I think the word sandbox was used earlier in a couple instances, and to me, it's just like a gigantic sandbox for us all to be a part of and play in and help each other. It's just, and as a sort of a startup founder, CEO, you're always testing and collaborating and trying new things and iterating. And I think this is one way to, find, as Danielle alluded to, the right standards and set the standards for the industry, and get everybody to buy into those standards and be really a leader in the industry.
Absolutely. Anna, from a Canadian perspective, of course, we've talked a lot about the industry in Canada, but in terms of international collaboration, do you have something to add in the last minute of the roundtable?
Well, I think that this IRTA provides an actual bridge in relating to the international regulations, the standardization that can take place with other countries. And so it's a point of learning, it's a point of dealing with the challenges on an international level and seeing how the challenges within our own region and how it can impact the regulations that are externally outside of our region, outside of our nation. So by having an IRTA to give us this kinds of information, to actually help us to form some kind of standardization, I think it's a good reference that we could actually take advantage of.
Fantastic. So I hope the roundtable has given the audience an idea of the size of the opportunity, both as an industry and as presented by IRTA. I think it's important to note the advanced state of the industry within the region, and as such, the value that IRTA brings to the market, coupled with how international collaboration can help us all to drive the industry and to help shape the future of RegTech, help shape the future of financial services, and help shape the future of regulation and compliance. I'll hand over now to Nicola, who's going to talk to us about how to get involved in IRTA.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Thank you very much, Matt. What an interesting discussion, and certainly a lot going on in the Americas relating to RegTech, so a lot to look forward to. So I'm the CMO of the IRTA. I'm also CMO of a RegTech firm called Cumrum. And I'm going to cover with you the value that we are building into the membership packages for the IRTA. So I'm going to just give you a flavour over a couple of slides about what we can offer you and what you can expect as a member of the IRTA. So basically what we've done is developed our value around 5 pillars. If you could go to the next slide, please. So we have 5 pillars of value. So the first is collaboration, innovation, expert opinion, knowledge, and exclusive offers. So if we start with the first one on the left there, we have collaboration. And what you can see within that pillar is events. So we'll be getting involved in running events, sponsoring events, maybe running RegTech streams within existing successful events. And right through to sort of more intimate invitation-only roundtables and briefings, really to enhance collaboration and to provide a rich forum for networking on the topic. We already have a LinkedIn group which has been set up. You can go onto LinkedIn and you can find the group, just look for the IRTA group and join that group and join the discussion. So that's something that we're actively promoting now for everyone. The next thing is a RegTech directory, which when you sign up as a member, you have the opportunity to make a directory entry which will be listed and accessible to other members. So that's really building up a directory of the stakeholders within the RegTech ecosystem, which is something that we know is a much sought after asset. And finally within there, we're looking to build business socials. So again, providing forums for networking and collaboration between interested stakeholders in the RegTech space. So moving on to innovation, Subhash talked in his introduction about the advisory council, so I'm not going to go into detail there, but there are a couple of things really that I would say about the advisory councils is that one is you get very early insight into the output and the results and the conclusions and the work of those councils, but really there's a great opportunity for you to get involved as well. So if you have an area of special interest, we're actively encouraging participation of members into the working groups that help really shape the RegTech industry. So really you have an opportunity to have your say and add your voice to the discussion. And one of the outputs of this will also be education around the topic, so that we foster a culture of learning and development and advancement of the industry. The third pillar there is expert opinion. There's certainly no shortage of real, genuine RegTech experts already involved with the IRTA, either in the executive board, on the advisory councils, or joining as members. And one of the activities that we're going to get involved in is promoting and producing interviews with both current members and with the executive board, either in video or written form. We have a number of media sponsors already signed up, so organisations like Banking Technology, Compliance Matters, Wealth Briefing, Asset TV, already involved, and that list is growing daily. There'll be opportunities for members to join as guest bloggers, so there's plenty of opportunity there to get your RegTech experts involved within the organisation. So the knowledge pillar there, we're a young and newly formed organisation, so what we're starting to do is build out a library of resources that will grow over time and will be a result of the work of the Advisory Council and other activities, which all of the members will have access to. And depending on the level of membership that you take, you will have between 1 and 125 users who can access that service. finally, in the fifth pillar there, we have exclusive offers for members. One of the things is that if you sign by the end of August, you have the unrestricted right to use a founding member logo for the IRTA. And that really represents your status as a founding member. So that's available to everyone who signs before the end of August. We're also offering member-only discounts, so perhaps as examples, delegate rates, discounted delegate rates, event participation, and not just with the IRTA, but with partner organizations as well. And there will also be member-only sponsorship opportunities to sponsor critical pieces of research, white papers, and various other pieces of work that we're involved in. So just moving quickly on to the packages available. So we really developed the packages so that they are open, transparent, and fully inclusive, so that anyone can join the IRTA. We don't want any restrictions to be in place. So what we have here is a membership structure that offers opportunities for government on the far left there, which is an honorary membership at no charge for regulators and government agencies. Individuals can join either as academics on a non-commercial basis at $199, or commercial businesses, individuals of a commercial business can join at $399. When we move to the organizations, again, non-commercial and academic or academia can join for a membership fee of $1,200. And commercial businesses, so this is where a lot of the RegTechs and the FinTechs would sit. So small, medium-sized enterprises, the membership fee is again $1,200 if you have less than 99 staff. But what we really wanted to do was support startups. So there's a special rate for startups with less than 20 staff of $399. And then you can see on the right-hand side here, there's a range of options for corporates, which are really based on your turnover and your size of your organization. So ranging from $10,000 through to $50,000. But most importantly here as well, I would say that if you sign before the end of August, you qualify for a 50% discount. We have a discount code which is available, and you get a 50% discount off the membership fees that are listed here. So all of this information is on the website, so go and take a look, and once you've taken a look, selected your membership category, very easy, just sign up there and then you can be part of the community that we're building. So that was all I wanted to cover. We have had the opportunity to submit questions. We've got 2 minutes left, so they're both quite chunky questions. So the first one I'm going to put, and we'll see if we have time for the second one, but the first one I want to put is, you know, it's great to look at this for the Americas. Which other regions and countries is the IRTA involved in? And I think possibly Subhas would be a good respondent for that.
Nicola, thank you. And I think great to have such a distinguished panel and great discussions. And thank you for the information you shared. IRTA, as I was saying at the beginning, is an extremely rapidly growing organization. So we are already in 20 countries. We have 5 regions, including the Americas. And the other regions, apart from the Americas, are Europe, Middle East and North Africa, Asia Pacific, and Oceania, including Australia, New Zealand, and Japan. So we are truly international. We are in every part of the geographies across the world. We are growing, and I think as one of the panelists put together, that IRTA is about providing a framework for further education, research, and innovations in RegTech. I think that's exactly the purpose. So if you want to build your career on RegTech, or you want to invest into RegTech to get all the benefits in terms of reducing cost, you know, more effective risk management, regulatory compliance, IRTA is the organizations for you to come and join.
Thank you, Subhas. I think we're pretty much coming up to time now. We have some other really interesting questions, very specific about GDPR and a number of other aspects. But I think what we will do is find a way to answer those questions and circulate that to everyone who's on the webinar. I think that would be very useful for all of us. So back to you, Subhash, just to finish.
Thank you, Nicola, and again, thank you all the panelists, Matt and the other panelists, for your contributions and for the enlightening thoughts. There's definitely a lot of things we need to do in the Americas region to build up the RegTech professions. But today we start that journey as the International RegTech Associations. I am, along with the rest of my executive board, looking for your support and to meet you in person as well when you're out in the region, out in the big cities like New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Toronto. So hope to see you there. And final thing I'm going to say is think RegTech, think IRTA. Thank you for your time today and speak to you soon. Bye for now.